Well, good morning. I'm Brent Adams here with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report for this Wednesday, January 31st. Leading off the headlines this morning, the U.S. soybean crush likely hit 6.185 million short tons in December 2023, or 296.1 million bushels, the most for any month in recorded history. Analysts surveyed ahead of the monthly USDA report noted it would be the third straight month that the national soybean crush topped 200 million bushels, as the expanding U.S. soy processing industry has been crushing larger and larger numbers of beans to meet the rising demand for vegetable oil from biofuel makers. If that December estimate is realized, it would be up from the 200.1 million bushels crushed in November and up 10% from the December 2022 crush of 187.4 million bushels. The Successful Farming says last month's estimated daily crush rate of 6.649 million bushels will be down from a record daily pace of 6.669 million set in November, which has one less day. Crush estimates range from 203.8 million to 207 million bushels. Well, Growth Energy released data showing American drivers recently surpassed the massive milestone of 100 billion miles driven on affordable homegrown E15 fuel. The 15% biofuel blend saves drivers an average of 15 cents a gallon at the pump. In some states, amid higher fuel costs last summer, drivers saw E15 savings climb as high as 60 cents per gallon. In a statement, Growth Energy CEO Emily Skor said homegrown biofuels deliver value for consumers at the pump, value for American agriculture and rural communities, and value for our nation's climate goals. She added that Growth Energy officials are proud of the 100 billion miles driven on E15 and excited that consumers have access to an affordable, earth-friendly option to fuel their travels. There aren't many products on the market today that allow consumers to save money and lower carbon emissions like E15, Skor adds. Well, big temperature swings are causing concern for the effects on the winter wheat crop. Here with the details is USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
As the song goes,
When you're hot, you're hot. And when you're not, you're not.
and farmers in places like Montana have been dealing with both extremes, the hot and the not.
We have seen temperature swings exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit over the last 2 weeks.
Wow, from temps hitting 50 degrees below zero to currently 60 degrees above. And USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says during that mid-January Arctic outbreak, winter wheat in most places was protected by a pretty deep snow cover. But in the last few days,
We've pretty much flushed a lot of the snow out of the Great Plains region, especially the high plains, and that does leave the crop exposed, winter wheat exposed to potential weather extremes as we head into February.
a severe cold wave could do some damage. However, Rippey says
Right now, Canada and most of North America, very warm, unusually warm, and that should keep the Arctic air at bay for the time being.
2 weeks at least, maybe longer. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, U.S. farmers and ag equipment makers are between a rock and a hard place with China and need a massive trade there, but vulnerable amid the strategic U.S.-China competition. Illinois Representative Darren LaHood on the Select Committee on U.S.-China Communist Party competition complained China has failed to live up to global trading rules since the U.S. agreed to China's WTO accession in 2001. LaHood told a Select Committee hearing that's hurt his farmers and farm equipment makers, now caught in the middle of stiff U.S.-China economic, military, and diplomatic competition.
Corn and soybeans, 40% goes to China every year. My farmers need to rely on that market to do it. Take your Fortune 200 companies that are heavily invested in China. They're in bed in many ways with the CCP in terms of their business there. I have the largest concentration of Caterpillar workers anywhere in the world. Cat has 29 manufacturing plants in China.
LaHood told former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo that many in Congress want to wage an economic Cold War with China, but Pompeo cautioned the outcome is not just up to the U.S.
Don't count on the fact that it will be a U.S. policy decision that drives them out of the country. We can see this already today. Executives being detained, products not being permitted to move. The Chinese Communist Party will have a say in the level of disconnection between our two economies, and I think Xi Jinping is intent upon making his country more self-reliant.
LaHood argued his Illinois businesses want Congress to step on the brakes a bit in confronting China. But Pompeo argues otherwise.
So I would urge those leaders of those businesses to be thinking about alternative markets and how you de-risk your balance sheet from a presence in China today, and doing so immediately.
Former CIA and Defense Chief Leon Panetta agreed with Pompeo, saying the U.S. should use the leverage of moving supply chains out of China if it needs to. Pompeo argued the CCP needs the U.S. more than the other way around. And finally, this morning, the USDA's Farm Service Agency will soon accept payments from direct farm loan borrowers by a new application on farmers.gov. Here with the details is USDA Radio's Rod Bain.
Borrowers of USDA direct farm loans now have another method of payment.
This new Pay My Loan system, which will allow farmers to pay their loans online.
Deputy Agriculture Secretary Xochitl Torres-Small says the online feature at farmers.gov is available starting early February and provides producers convenience to make payments versus visiting their local FSA office or submitting payment by phone or by mail.
Farmers who are often out doing two jobs in order to make things work have long days out in the fields, and being able to have the option, if they choose, to pay online instead of going into a service center, which will continue to be an option, can help make that day a little shorter for folks.
The Pay My Loan feature is the latest in a series of USDA efforts to streamline its farm loan program and loan application process, as well as modernize customer service at local FSA offices. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Well, you can keep up with the latest from the world of agriculture by subscribing to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each week, I bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us daily on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. Each day, we bring you our award-winning agriculture programming, as well as the best in traditional country music, mixed in with a little bluegrass, western swing, southern rock, and inspirational music. Again, the place to find Rural Strong Radio is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. We're portable, so take us with you everywhere you go while you're working on the farm or ranch. Let's get through the workday together. Well, I'll be back again tomorrow with another Rural Strong Morning Ag Report here on Steve Shetler Media. Make it a great day, everybody.